I just kind of woke up one morning and then all of a sudden my garden just started performing outstandingly well, and in today's video I'm going to be showing you everything that you have missed since I last posted a garden tour a couple weeks ago. Let's not waste any time and jump straight into this. But if there's two things that are never changing, first of all, the lack of maintenance on the exterior of the garden, not making it look nice, but I do have a video coming up next week where I am actually going to upgrade my garden a little bit, so stay tuned for that, turn on the notifications, and also the way you enter the garden. It's actually quite simple. You just open up the door and you have to duck down. Either way though, it's easy to get in here, so let's jump right into this. Now my strawberries, they're kind of just having their midsummer fade away right now. These guys, they don't really do too much during the duration of the summer months, which is pretty usual. And same with the blueberries. I feel like there's just not been a lot of production this year, but we did get a couple dozen of them this year, which is way better than what we've had in previous years. And it's actually way statistically more improved than it could have possibly ever been, just simply because of the fact we installed this net up here. Now right now, nothing really is happening because it's kind of the off season. But I can assure you with this new net installed over here, next season is about to be an insane year for the blueberries. So far this season, I'd say we have a new contender for the best plant of the year. And at the end of every year, I'll wrap up the garden and tell you guys which plant did best, which we'll get into that in just a minute. But these strawberries are definitely looking really good. Well, let's jump into the main garden. Now, first and foremost, we got one of the most disappointing plants of the year. Now, statistically in the past, they've had a really good year, but so far this year, we got 3 of them. And it looks like that's gonna be the case for the remainder of the year. Couldn't already guess it, these are your corn plants right here. There's 3 of them. It's kind of depressing. I'm well aware of that fact, and it's unfortunately likely going to be that way. But if you couldn't already tell, the sleeper contender for the best plant that we were growing in the garden this year is going to be pumpkins or gourds. I think it's going to be a two-way tie between the both of them this season. But the peppers are looking like they're trying to run it back, though. I think it's going to be really close. It's going to be a really good rivalry between the two. But as you guys can see, these pumpkins are coming up really nicely right now. And the goal is to have some pumpkins starting to sprout here probably by around the next like 10 to 15 days when we're gonna start seeing flowers forming on this one. And there's actually flowers forming on some other pumpkins in here as well. We'll get into that in just a minute. But let's jump over to the raised bed, see what's happening over there. And just ignoring this, it's safe to say this has been a huge success so far this year. I mean, this looks insanely good compared to previous years. Last year, this was just a weed hub, and this year, it's an entire raised bed that works functionally well like a raised bed. Now, the reason we have this random raised bed in this in-ground garden, and it's just for one simple reason. These plants right here, they just don't tend to grow in the soil that we have here. Now, I don't know what's up with the soil here, but these two in specific just never really grow. But this year, it's been worse than ever. I mean, the corn plants aren't really germinating too well. The only two I've noticed really good success in there, obviously, the zucchini and the pumpkins and the gourds, which we're going to have just a second, as I said. But these right here, impressive year. You can just pick one of these off if you wanted to, but we're gonna wait to make these look even more impressive before we start harvesting. And then right over here, we got some stuff to look into. We got, obviously, you got your zucchini plants over here. Now, there's also no eggplants this year, as you might notice. Wanna know why? And there's no crazy backstory. Like last year, it was my puppy absolutely annihilating everything. The year before, it was my cat eating all them. But this year, it's just, they suck. They're just not simply growing, like, at all. And it's kind of depressing to see that. They just didn't make it past the germination phase. I mean, like 60% of all our plants died, which is why this isn't as expansive as it would have been otherwise. But as you guys can see though, these zucchinis are definitely taking last year and they're multiplying upon it by a significant amount. As you guys know, last year we had a really good start to the season with them. I thought they were about to be contenders for the best plants this year. And then a raccoon or beetle or something, I don't know what really got into them, just started killing everything. But as you guys can clearly see here, there's some cut off limbs on there. You might be wondering what that means. Well, that means we've gotten some harvests. We got a 14-inch zucchini out of the garden last week, which I think is really interesting to say the least. And this week, nothing really crazy, but I think next week, based on all the flowers I'm seeing right here, is gonna be a crazy week. Now moving on, we got the trellis area, and here's the thing. We planted some cucumbers here on the bottom, and I have no clue where this came from. I genuinely cannot tell where this is coming from. This is like the most interesting thing I've seen in the garden this year. There's always some kind of miracle story from our garden every single year, and this appears to be the miracle story of this year, which is this random cucumber plant, which just appeared out of absolutely nowhere. I think it's appearing from somewhere deep in here, but for the sake of your time, I'm not going to investigate it. It would be in a short of its own in case you're wondering. But moving on, we got this nice trellis area, and this is actually where things start looking real nice. You got some cucumbers down here on the end, and of course you got some gourds coming in here really nicely. As you can see here, these are all gourds, and they're even beginning to flower too. I don't think we're gonna get like that 2022 level harvest where I got almost 100 gourds, but I think we're definitely gonna get a significant value, more than last year, which was 0, because all of them died. But this year, I think it's looking real nice. The soil's looking up this year, and these guys just are looking really nice. So be sure to stay tuned to see what happens with them. But let's move on to that area down there. Now, our tomatoes, they don't really look the greatest. They never really look great. Tomatoes, they just look terrible. but they still perform pretty nicely. And I think that's what we're witnessing here. Well, most of these guys look pretty healthy. There's a couple of them that just look like they're sagging a little bit, but that's all right, because as you can see, they are beginning to change color on the fruit, which is looking real nice. And then obviously you got your peppers. You got your bell peppers, your jalapenos, your serranos, and all the other stuff we planted. I can't remember all the names, but as you guys can see here, they're looking real nice. They're all beginning to sprout pretty nicely, and I think most of these guys could be ready for harvest within like the next day or two, honestly. So I'd say in summary that this week's lesson from our garden is to just simply expect the unexpected, because crazy stuff and miracles can actually happen. And trust me, gardening can teach you a whole lot. But if you'd like to see what our garden looked like just 2 weeks ago, you should click this video here on the center of the screen. I'll see you guys in that one. Be sure to like and subscribe. God bless, and I'll see y'all on Wednesday.